Hi, in this demonstration, I'm going to show you how you can import inventory adjustments in batch into QuickBooks Online using Zed Axis. Before we get started, let's just show you what I mean by an inventory adjustment. So here we are inside QuickBooks, and we have in our product and service list, we have a number of inventory items. Recorded in here is the quantity on hand according to what's been calculated within QuickBooks. Now, if that differs to what we actually done a physical count at our site, we would then need to adjust these to reflect that. Now, you may be stocking many hundreds or many thousands of inventory items within your business, and to actually update all those quantities manually would take a long time. So what I'm going to show you is how you can take a Excel file or a text file that contains all those items and those item quantities, and how we can import those directly into your QuickBooks Online company file. So I've opened Zed Axis on my desktop and I've connected to my QuickBooks Online company file. So clicking on the Import tab, I'm then going to browse to the file that contains the inventory adjustments that I want to import in batch into QuickBooks Online. So here is a text file that I've created. So within that file, what you'll see is we have a column for the fully qualified name of the item. So that includes any categories. So we have a category of house paint, and then we have an item of red. We have ladders, and we have some blue paint as well. Now we also have a column for the type of inventory item that we're importing. In this case, it needs to be an inventory because we know they are stocked parts within QuickBooks. We have the income account, expense, and asset account for those. We also have a column for the adjustment date that we were making this inventory adjustment for, and the quantity on hand that we're recording for this adjustment. Now, the reason why we have these income, expense, and asset account fields is that we're going to be using the item list type import, but using that to modify an existing item in QuickBooks to modify the quantity on hand. So the next step in the process is to create a mapping. So we can select Add New Mapping, and the transaction type that we'll select is an item. Now that's for item list imports. We're going to then map the columns in our import file to the corresponding fields that exist within QuickBooks. So we know name's going to go to name. Those marked in yellow are mandatory, but we know we're going to have to put in the type here. We need to put in the income account against income, purchase or expense account against the expense account, as well as the asset account. Now these are just required fields when we need to modify an item within QuickBooks. Now you can put those in as constants if you need those. We also have the ability to export out item lists from QuickBooks Online if you don't have that information at hand. The important fields here that we're going to use to adjust the item is, number one, is the quantity on hand field, which will map to quantity on hand within our import file, and the inventory start date, which we're actually mapping to the adjustment date here. So once we're ready, we can give this a name so that we can reuse all that on subsequent imports. And we'll save that. So now what you'll see is the only the fields that we mapped will be displayed within this grid now, and they're using the QuickBooks names that we've previously so we can identify exactly the fields that we're importing these values against. We're going to select the option to append, and we'll begin the process of importing these inventory adjustments directly into the QuickBooks Online company file. Axis will validate the data to make sure it's in the correct format, and then begin the process of directly importing each of those inventory adjustments into QuickBooks Online. So when the import is complete, we can see that they were all successfully imported, and that's going to have a look within QuickBooks to see those adjustments. we can see here the house paint red. We now have a new quantity of 24 on hand. And we have 36 of the blue paint. And you can also see within here the necessary quantity adjustments that were made. So we know we've got adjusted here. This directly shows the inventory quantity adjustment that was imported. So that's very simply how we use Zed Axis to batch import item inventory quantity adjustments directly into your QuickBooks Online company file.